I have it.
I did. Should have put your smiling face on. Good with the other guy.
That will turn some head.
It was on 18 and 10 before noon.
What was? Our situation, village today. Last night.
I didn't hear it.
Or what you're, we're just saying.
Oh, the.
Yes. Kidnapping. Yeah. Let's set up our chairs. Except for a couple.
It wasn't. I can just listen. I don't know for you.
Last one.
Yes.
Okay. Call the meeting to order, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I'll bring to attention anyone who would like to see the map of the town of Mendon that has the Mendon Fire District, Mendon Fire Protection District #1, and Village County of Falls. We have it posted in the back of the room if anyone would like to look at it. We'll move on to public comment. If anyone would like to speak, we would ask you if you could provide your name and address and provide limit your comments to 3 minutes or less until we have a chance for everyone to speak, and then we'll go around the room again. Does anyone like to speak? We'll move on to communications. Andy?
Okay, so last month was pretty much eaten up by brush. It was the whole month of May, pretty close to it. Then we moved on to prepping some of our town roads, county roads for summer work program. Also started a tree inventory on all the trees in the rights of way within on the town roads, see what's dead. Come up with some rating system and some sort of program that's starting to remove dead ash trees. Trees are becoming quite a conversation piece. Attended highway school in Ithaca last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was really good. And met with the county, and it looks like there's gonna be some good opportunities for revenue coming up after all of our town work is straightened out.
Thank you. Michelle?
Taxes are collected, we ended up with 98%. Pretty good. So that's done, the report's been filed with the county, just waiting on the finalization from them. I set up a rabies clinic. We're gonna do it at the town, or the highway garage, October 15th, it's a Saturday. And it'll be from like 11 to 1. Dr. Gluckman has agreed to come administer the shots for us. It'll be for dogs, cats, and ferrets. Still working on the credit card machines. Got 2 companies I'm getting down finalized to pick which one. Other than that, just waiting for school to start.
Then, yeah.
I know, well, tax season.
Next season comes around pretty quick. Exactly. Move on to Sheldon.
I have nothing.
Okay. Brent?
Went out and met with Girl Scouts this last meeting. They planted some trees in Mendon Ponds Park. They were donated by a local company. So there was a couple of red oaks, some pines. Took some pictures. I'm a little bit behind. I hope to have those pictures, get them over to hopefully put them on the Facebook page for consideration. I've been to a couple of meetings, which I think we'll discuss in later tonight agenda about some septic for this great park. Planning board also along those lines. Speaking of the planning board, at the last meeting, there was they wrapped up 3 items that have been going on for a little while. The Newcomb site plan, the Coat subdivision, and there was preliminary approval on Mendon Green. There was a lot of conditions on preliminary approval for Mendon Green, but it's something that the engineers really need to have and the developers need to have so they can start continuing to do their design. They hope to be back soon for final, but I think there's some more items to do, including a conservation easement. That's it.
Thank you. Karen?
Nothing.
Cindy?
On, it was June 1st, yes. John, Rick Milne, and I had been invited by a group of the Library Board of Trustees to meet and discuss possible community outreach strategies for the library. And I thought it was a productive, informative meeting, went very well. The committee is also meeting on June 15th to set up 3 goals for their long-term plan. They are also reviewing and revising several of their policies. They're trying to do 2 to 3 each month until they're done. Right now, their focus is on the summer programs at the library, and they have several very nice things set up. And Lila complimented the highway department on their plan. That's it.
Thank you. Tom?
It's kind of obvious. Brad and I have swapped out, at least for the summer, planning board and zoning board of appeals. So last zoning board of appeals meeting mainly dealt with property on Mendon Center Road. It's got, I think, 2.28 usable acres for a horse, and they had to decide what would be reasonable for the number of horses in the lot. And it was great back and forth with the owner, whatever. It's obviously a small plot of land, but they have usable pastures adjacent to it that they that they can also take advantage of. So they ended up settling on 3 horses. So, but it was a great, I mean, it was a great meeting for the committee and the property owner to kind of, they're back and forth and reach a resolution that everyone's happy.
Let's see, received just today, received a complaint regarding 1387 West Bloomfield Road, which is a barn that has been used for commercial purposes. The owner has been written to in the past regarding the fact that he's operating a business in a residential zone. And at this point, they have not, because of COVID, of course, everything kind of quieted down, but we've seen now that activity has begun again, so we'll be citing. Code enforcement officer will be citing the owner. And they can work it out in court. Let's see, the barn that the town board approved to have, had to be taken down, or we were going to take it down and charge the owner, has been taken down on Rush Menden Road. That was in obviously very much disrepair. And let's see, senior citizens have reorganized. They have new officers. They've got a sign out in front for their meeting tomorrow. There seems to be some renewed energy within the group. So doing everything we can to support them and any activities that they decide to take on for the rest of this year. Obviously, they were almost 2 years, I think, between meetings with COVID as well. Took part in a virtual meeting on countywide broadband. It's kind of interesting. You know, if this ever comes to fruition, it would be great, but I think this could take a while. But they're talking about speeds of 100 up and 100 down throughout the county, which would be great. Like I say, I still not sure where all the money's going to come from, but we'll see. Last Thursday, attended a council of government meetings downtown. There was discussion on that as well as several other items, including shared services. Attended the Menden Fire Commissioners meeting last Thursday night. We all took part in the Memorial Day and Menden Fire Department parades. Both had good weather, well attended. Once again, with COVID in the rearview mirror, it was nice to have some activities like that. Flowers are all up. As I don't know if it was Ian, somebody mentioned earlier, they're at the town hall. They're out here in front of this building. And thank you to everybody who helped out, especially at Menden Highway, to get this bed out here ready for Memorial Day. Homeowners tax rebate credit checks have hit, and I talked to the assessor today. It's a little complicated, and I imagine that when the state starts sending out more and more money. But basically, if you own a property and you have owned it, I think since 2021, and you paid school tax, there's a rebate, and there's quite a unusual formula, I will call it, for how much you get. But I have a couple of people have stopped me just in the last couple of days and said they
John,
got
I put the amount on the website.
Thank you. Yeah, I gave the assessor gave the information to me. I gave it to Michelle and asked her to put it in an easily readable fashion on our website. So appreciate that. I'll be out of town the June 16th through 23rd. The deputy town supervisor will be available. I'll be available by phone or email. Also, and that's it for me.
Just a clarification, the barn that came down, did they end up using what we sent over there, or did the homeowner do it himself?
The homeowner did it themselves.
Okay.
The owner of the property.
Yeah.
They didn't live there, but
Yeah.
the owner of the property did it themselves.
Yeah.
Or had a contract.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was good. That because that was every time I went by there, all I could think of was it was getting more and more dangerous.
Yeah.
We'll move on to supervisor's monthly report.
Make a motion to acknowledge and receive the supervisor's monthly report for May 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? Everything looks good. Our revenue in B is pretty close to our expenditures, but you know, we've had sales tax money come in this month already, which has been substantial, so that'll cure that problem. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Move on to town clerk's monthly report.
Motion to acknowledge receipt of the town clerk's monthly report for May 2022, showing receipts and disbursements in the amount of $4,063.04.
I'll say that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Next are minutes. We have minutes from May 9th and May 31st.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular town board meetings as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, budget transfers and adjustments.
Make a motion to approve the budget adjustments as delineated in our agenda.
So most of these are in the budget for the spray park. And all these were previously passed by the board in the budget, but we physically have to do the transfers. So that's what most, I think the first 5 of them are related to, and then the last 2 are one is coming up on the agenda with number 11, and the other one is for building department expenses. Any other comments?
Who's seconded?
Oh, nobody second? I thought I heard it.
Oh, you did? I didn't hear you, sorry.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we'll move on to vouchers.
I'd like to make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers number 22-361 to 22-443, general abstract 22-06, in the amount of $94,074.22.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
I'd also like to acknowledge library budget number 22-067 to 22 dash.
I got too many
Too many
zeros.
zeros.
My
Okay.
bad.
084 on library abstract 22-06, the amount of $13,378.90. Representative.
Thank you. Next, number 11 is amending the contract between the town board and the highway superintendent, section 284 of highway law.
Make a motion to approve amending highway superintendent's annual contract for summer work on town roads as submitted to and reviewed by this town board and made as part of the minutes of this meeting. Do I need to go any further with that motion?
I'll second that.
So this was done back in January, and since then, we've seen increased costs. I had a chance to talk to Andy, and we certainly didn't want to take any of the road projects out of it. So we were able to do a transfer I should say before this agenda item, where we transferred some money to the fund so that we could do all these projects because of the increased costs involved. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to number 12, which is rabies pharmaceuticals and recycle event.
I'll make a motion to approve rabies pharmaceutical and recycling event at the Mendon Highway Department on Saturday, October 15th, 2022, between the hours of 11 a.m. and 1 p.m.
I'll second.
As Michelle noted earlier, she has confirmation for the rabies with the county and the veterinarian. I have confirmation with the Monroe County Sheriff's Department regarding the pharmaceuticals, and I'll be working on the shred and electronics portion of that this month. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Citizens Advisory Committee, this is a recommendation of the Mendon Town Board for future fire use. So this is on a separate piece of paper for the board and anyone in the audience that in your packet. This was not ready Friday for publications. Just wanted to make sure if no one minds, I'd like, I'll wait till it's, well, I think we should read this just to make sure that everyone's in, and I did email this to everybody, I believe it was
You want
yesterday.
all the whereas's read also?
It's up to you.
I'll make some.
Skip the whereas's then, right? Show the sense.
Stick them or stick to them?
Skip.
Them, okay, sorry. I'll make a motion to approve Citizens Advisory Committee to consider and report findings regarding fire protection service within the town of Mendon.
Second.
So this has been an ongoing discussion that I have had and various town board members have had with the citizens, including several firefighters within the village and village fire department, as well as the Mendon Fire Department. There should have been did you receive a larger book?
Like
Yeah.
this.
There,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So back in 19, what is it, 95?
95.
95, the town did a similar type thing. But we're really just concentrating, we don't want to, extend this and cause a delay. So we're just going to concentrate on fire service within the town. And this would be a citizens advisory committee, very similar to what we did for the military memorial. And we're asking that on page 2, there's a back to that one, as to who would be represented. We're asking for representation from the following, and then a committee chair that would be appointed by the town board. And then page 2 is the list of meetings and where they're going to be at the time. And so that this would be all wrapped up by February. That would be the goal, or earlier. One is that we have on here that 2 town board members would be on the committee. I know I'd like to serve on the committee, and I don't know if anyone else would like to serve. And the committee chair to be appointed by the Mendon Town Board. I'm going to ask that Mary Louise Meisensaw be appointed to the committee chair.
Great choice.
I'm just kind of curious, so obviously the board will come back with recommendations, which we'll vote on. What other parties would be voting on it? Would the village need to vote on it, or is it, I mean,
The only ones that really have a vote is this town.
this
board.
time, okay.
Right,
Just-
once
sorry.
a recommendation comes back.
Okay,
But it would be a recommendation from a committee where we
Yeah,
ask
where they're-
for representation. So tomorrow, assuming we pass this tonight, tomorrow we'd send out letters to all these and ask for individuals to respond and be at the first meeting on.
Asking for, like in the fire prediction district number 1, fire district, we're looking for 1 resident, village 1 resident. You gonna advertise for those on the website, or are you gonna send out a broad letter?
I thought we just advertised for that, put something in the newspaper, put something on our Facebook page, website, and if if there's see what the kind of response we get from them.
And I'm assuming Ms. Meisel has expressed her interest in serving as the chair. Willingness.
Or was this a surprise?
So I'm not blindsided.
So, a couple of things have spurred this on. One is that the lack of volunteers, quite frankly, from both departments. And as we've seen and heard, there are plans for the village to do some type of major building for some type of a firehouse. And I felt all along that the people in the fire protection district would get shortchanged on that type of thing. And I think this gives those folks an opportunity to not only hear, but to participate in a discussion about fire service within the confines of the town.
I think it's a very good idea myself, and I greatly appreciate the fact the framework that's in this resolution, also what their goals are.
Right.
Help keep them from chasing their tails.
Is there another person from the town board, or if there's two others, then I can step aside who would like
I would
to?
like to be part of that, John.
Okay. Are you available on the
Yeah.
meetings?
I'm looking at all of them, yeah. They're at night, right?
Correct.
Yes,
7 to 8 o'clock.
yes, I can do.
MuffyEnzie's meet is exactly. the
Oh,
same.
yeah.
They're 8 o'clock.
She's good.
All right. So is there a motion, or no, we do have a motion, right, Michelle? It's, as far as who we're gonna put on it and Muffy, do we need to, is that the same motion, or should we have some? Okay. So we need to amend the motion?
Yes. Which means.
Did I make it?
You made it.
You made it.
Brent, and
So
then-
I will amend my motion accordingly for the 2 town board members and the appointment of the chair. committee chair.
Need to consent to the second.
I second.
Okay,
So you just have to consent.
I consent.
great. Any other discussion? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Thank you.
Brent, were you the other one on the committee?
no, Karen.
Karen and who though?
John,
John.
Oh. Oh,
Next, we have resolution to approve finance director attendance at the Human Resource Conference on June 23rd.
Make that motion.
I'll second
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is septic discussion regarding the spray park. And Brent, I brought that map down, or that poster down, or whatever you want to call it, to thought maybe a little visual aid might help. If you wouldn't mind kind of walking through what we've done and what we haven't done. Brent's the most knowledgeable on this.
Okay, that's right. There was the original design, if I'm not mistaken, pretty much encompassed half of this open space here, and the other half of the open space was reserved for future expansion. I think, if I remember correctly, John Haygreen, John and myself were kind of like, well, that's kind of the most developable part of this. So we've had some concerns, and also that it's the only part that's uphill. So we wanted to investigate some downhill locations, not the soccer fields, but downhill locations, to see if they would be suitable also. Andy went out with the highway department, dug some deep holes and some perk tests. There is a property line right here. They dug them pretty much across the property line on the other property, which we would have had to do a lot line adjustment for this, but the perk test didn't come back, which we talked with a contractor in the area, and he kind of indicated that they might have stripped some soils when they made the soccer field. So we weren't completely surprised, but we've done our diligence. Now the engineers came back and they came back with an alternate system, 2 alternate systems, which will create the septic fields to be half the size. So as opposed to taking up this entire half of the rate of the higher area, well, for lack of a better term, I'll call it marketable or buildable. Probably buildable is a better term. So instead of taking up this entire buildable area with the septic and the expansion, it's only going to take up a quarter of it with the septic and then a quarter of it with the expansion. The engineers feel as though with the higher technology, the cost difference will be about the same. I called to talk to a contractor about it in the area. He is comfortable with one of the alternatives they recommended. They recommended 2. So, I mean, our options is we move forward with, John, I think we've already given you the ability to negotiate with LaBella on this to come up with a solution. So that, you know, I think we go with the smaller footprint myself and keep this buildable area for something in the future. I mean, it's the spot to be if we do anything else.
And, you know, we've already fielded some requests from some of the youth soccer folks about additional fields at that location. So, you know, one of the reasons why we put them off, besides the fact that there wasn't anything in the budget for putting more fields in there, is that we wanted to see this project through, not only from a cost basis on this project, but also because there was a big question mark on septic. And, you know, Brent knows this stuff very well, and it's all a little Greek to me, to be honest with you. But I've learned a lot, but I'm still definitely in the learning phase. So the contract for the military memorial with CP Ward, that has been issued. LaBella's waiting for the submittals, which is basically, you know, they send out submittals. It's like what they're going to use and where they're going to procure it, that kind of thing. Just today, I signed the contracts with the other company, Whitney East, and had those notarized. So LaBella will be picking those up tomorrow. So that'll start picking up steam as well, especially once we get back to it. But I just thought it was helpful for the board to hear this and to understand it, and certainly welcome your feedback on any of this. But we've pretty well, like Brent says, done our due diligence on exploring the septic and trying to make sure that we've, you know, saved some of this property that's really beautiful property for, you know, if we want to put a playground or another soccer field or whatever the case may be in the future.
It is, and I'm sorry, I just can't see it from here. Where's the memorial? Is that actually delineated on that map, or where the memorial will be?
I think this is a little bit older one.
Okay.
The memorial is right up in this area.
Okay, good. So part of what you
Yeah.
call the
Yeah.
expanded expansion space, okay. And now the area with the septic, like all areas with the septic, is just an open green grassy area.
Yeah, it's a green grassy area. It's lawn. That's
Yeah.
what it could be. Technically, I think you could use it as a soccer field, but it just could be just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that looks like it gives enough room for expansion in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
I think,
Without a
I
doubt.
ring anything.
Yeah.
It really keeps us open.
I appreciate all the work you've
Yeah.
done on this.
And I think that most importantly, we talked to our constituents. We've done our diligence on
Yes.
this.
Yeah,
This is why it's going to be up there. Other than it just was lines on a piece of paper.
Right.
Great.
All right.
Appreciate it.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Move on to number 16, planning board appointment.
Motion to appoint Teresa Winship to the amended planning board effective immediately, term to expire December 31st, 2026.
Go ahead. You do that. I'll say.
Any discussion?
I think we obviously had just advertised for this recently. Teresa was on the short list. We had an unexpected resignation. So went back through the short list. She's still very interested in met with her. In my opinion, I don't think that the planning board will miss a beat. I think she's quite capable, very knowledgeable. My discussions with her, it's a very good back and forth.
Yeah, Brent and I did go through a formal kind of interview process, but they're both very impressed. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is budget transfer from reserve fund.
Make a motion to transfer $380,000 from the fund reserve account A82A Park Reserve Fund to A7120.2 Dreisbach Field Equipment Improvements.
So this,
That.
oh, thank you. Thanks for a second. This and the following ones are all subject to permissive referendum, which basically permissive referendum is that if there is some citizen that opposes it, they can garnish the number of signatures necessary, present that within 45 days, in which case that would negligate the transfer of reserve funds. So this was already in the Parks Reserve Fund, but so this just moves it over in the budget as far as moving it over to the Dreisbach Field improvements, which is Spring Park. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, budget transfer to reserve fund again, number 18.
Make a motion to transfer 42,000 from the A Fund Reserves Account TA61 Developers Fund to A7120.2 Dreisbach Field Equipment Improvements.
Second.
So this is the developers fund. So everybody who builds a house in the town of Mendon has to put money in this developers fund. So it has grown over the years, and this is exactly what it's supposed to be used for: recreation, parks, for the betterment of the community. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Number 19, this is once again a budget transfer from the reserve fund.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Once again, number 20, budget reserve fund.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move on to number 21, which is repair the Mendon parking lots, the library, and the community center.
I make a motion to approve crack filling parking lots at the Mendon Public Library and the Mendon Community Center not to exceed $1,083. 22 North Main Street from account A 1620.421 in the Community Center not to exceed $1,354.11 from account 1620.413C via NYSOGS contract with SUPCO.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Go back to public comment. Buffy.
Muffy Meisenthal, 2 Rittenhouse Drive, Honeywood Falls. I want to thank you for the resolution that you passed on the fire protection issues. And I have a request. When you did the memorial committee and the supervisor alluded to this as maybe a model from the memorial committee format, there was a tab on the website that Michelle created for the memorial work. And I would hope that that could be set up at this point and that perhaps that resolution be cited on it, posted on it, because I think you realize this could be quite an emotional issue for people across the community as well as the providers of the services. And I think the resolution is fairly explicit that it is an objective move. It is not subjective. You are looking for factual information on which to base a decision. And I wouldn't want rumors to start from the get-go about what the position is. And I think the resolution clarifies very clearly what you're looking to do. And I think that will help everyone in the community as they look at this and consider themselves maybe as a member of the committee. Also, if you think there's a value in putting those dates down, that way anybody who's interested might be able to check that against their own calendars. They are all Wednesday evenings. The center is available 7 to 8. Seemed to be a good time frame for the memorial group. And we were sticklers about the 1 hour meeting and really held tight to that. So I want to thank you for doing this, and I look forward to working with both of you as members of the board and the committee that you put together. And a question, as part of the resolution, are you authorizing the supervisor to approve anyone who comes forward? Or will the approval for the committee members need to come back before the board at a July meeting or a special meeting?
My impression was that I would approve anybody for this committee, just to expedite things.
I
because
agree.
We have a meeting scheduled in July, and I think we meet July 11th. The first meeting is the 13th.
Yeah. So,
I have no
There's
problem
no
with John.
objections to that.
And this is going to be a get started and get going because there's a lot of ground to cover. And this is a pretty aggressive schedule. If, like the Memorial Committee, the report can come in ahead of time, be happy to have it happen. But I think the layout of the meeting schedule will be a challenge at some points, but I'm going to be very firm in moving forward with it. So I don't want to exceed your February 1st deadline for the report.
Appreciate
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
it. Anyone else? Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.